Welcome in here this morning, Tuesday edition, Blue Sky Live with you, Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio. Ole Miss finds out its next batch of college football playoff rankings tonight. I don't know what time I'll look it up, but that is coming this evening. We'll look at games for the week. We didn't really get to that yesterday because we were hitting some other college football topics. And then Lane Kiffin completely locked in yesterday during his Monday presser. We'll go over some of those things as well. You can see a written version of that online, rebelgrove.com, what he said, what he meant by Mr. McCready over here, but we will discuss it here on the show. Also leading up to Florida and Ole Miss Saturday from Gainesville, 11 o'clock Central from the Swamp for that one. So that's what everything is leading up to here with a week at MPW Digital and rebelgrove.com. Podcast is brought to you every day by Blue Sky locations throughout Mississippi, up and down I-55. They're all over North Mississippi as well. Their newest location is the rebuild there in Amory. Lunch specials, Sweet Daddy's locations, ribs, pulled pork, side items, desserts, plenty more, clean convenience stores. Fill up on gas when you come into town, and all their other options they have there inside Blue Skies. And again, we're coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. There's no hassle. There's no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done. What I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest joined throughout the week on the Campbell Clinic hotline, from fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions. The pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized pediatric orthopedic team in North Mississippi, providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit CampbellClinicOxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
Up at MPW Digital this morning, I spoke with Ole Miss Chancellor Glenn Boyce yesterday. The first half of the interview, a ton about academics, enrollment, housing, parking, all the logistics that are going on with the positives and negatives of having the level of enrollment they are right now, what they're doing about it, where it's going. In the back half, a lot of athletics. So if you only care about the athletics part, I mean, if you care about Ole Miss, you probably care about all of it. But if not, around 34, 35 minutes is where the athletics takes in. He is on the NCAA Board of Governors. We talked a good bit about house settlement stuff, the money, Title IX, where some of those things are going. So again, that is there somewhere in the middle of the podcast, somewhere around minute 34, 35, if you'd like to jump ahead there at MPW.
It's just shocking to see all of these southern schools bursting at the seams with enrollment from kids from the North and the West and the upper Midwest. It's really just an anomaly, I'm sure.
I don't want to get it wrong, but I think I remember him saying Ole Miss's fourth largest out-of-state enrollment was Illinois this year.
Yeah.
I think Illinois was 4.
Yeah.
And there's been a huge push from New York, as you said. California has always had a decent number either way, but Illinois and New York were 2 that I know specifically got pulled out yesterday.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Has nothing to do with.
The question will be, well, number one, these schools are trying to figure out what to do with it, because you can't overrun yourself. I mean, I asked him the question, what's too many on enrollment, and are you close to that? And they've already made some adjustments on out-of-state ability to get in with wait lists and requirements and some things like that probably will come in the future as well. But I'm curious because obviously you're alluding to the pandemic. I'm wondering.
No.
Comes on. My point is, I wonder if this is as name recognition and successes of the kids who did that, is it a continuation, or are we in a segment and then it falls back to a more normal level over time?
I suspect it will depend on what the reaction is in the areas where they're losing students.
Mm-hmm.
If they continue down the same path, I think this trend will only accelerate. I mean, look around. I mean, you've got Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Auburn, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee. I mean, that's a big, long list of schools that year after year after year now, over the last 3 or 4 years, have seen their enrollments just boom. I mean, breaking freshman records year over year. I mean, it's not a coincidence that that's happening. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, there was a quote in it where Boyce believes that Ole Miss is going to be enrollment cliff proof because of their out-of-state notoriety at this point, that the cliff is not going to hit them, because frankly the cliff has already happened. I mean, one stat that's in the story, and I may be off by a percentage point, but of all Mississippi public institutions growth for this year, Ole Miss was the reason for 86% of the overall system growth this year. Is kind of where it was sitting. So that's where they are. A lot of reasons there, but anyway, that is there in podcast form. If you'd like to hear him talk about it. Yeah, I see here Mississippi College changing its name and dropping football. A couple people sent that to me yesterday, but I have not read much about that at all. I'm not well versed. Look, though, here's the thing. It's not a shock. It's not a surprise that lower level schools that are getting hit by all these different things. If I have even the most modicum of surprise, it's that D2 is affected and the downstream is even hitting D2. I thought there was a chance they would be isolated enough and insular to themselves that they would not be in the middle of kind of the way this is also going. So I don't know. That was one thing there with that. But yes, they are switching to Mississippi Christian University, I believe is the switch on a name. Yeah, at Mississippi College. They were already religious or affiliated, but yeah, I think that is the move there, and this will be the final football season. We're going to get into a lot of Ole Miss stuff. What do you think? I saw two more yesterday. Tom Herman, UMass fired their coach yesterday. I know a couple of different. I know Rice had already fired a coach. Basically, if you have Owls in your nickname, you've fired your coach at this point for 2024. However, there has not been a Power 4 firing. You would think that Group of 5 schools would even have less ability to pay buyouts and things, and where this is coming from. Are we simply in a situation where it's coincidental, or is there a reason we're having Group of 5 firings but not Power 4 firings?
I don't know what, like, for example, I don't know what Tom Herman's buyout at FAU was. It probably was not exorbitant. Most of those schools don't have these insane contracts. I'm guessing it's basically that. I mean, there will ultimately be changes at Power 4 schools. That's going to happen. But we're
not firing anyone.
But you're in a period where you don't really know what the future is. And when you're uncertain, that's not when you take a lot of financial risk. If you think about it, if you're like, well, we really don't know what our income's going to be. Let's plan our European vacation now. That's not when you do that. I think that's a lot of it. No one really knows what the rev share thing's going to do to their long-term financials. It's kind of insane to give a coach $50 million to not coach. So I think you're seeing the Power 4 more buying as much time as possible. But ultimately, people will still fire coaches, and what will be more interesting than this is going to be the new contracts.
Do you have a switch on how it's structured?
You're going to try.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you're going to have everybody have band together a little bit, because otherwise you're just going to go to the school that is doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Sexton's still going to go find the best deal.
Sure. That's his job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you do it, but the people that out there that vilify Jimmy Sexton, I'll never understand that. His job is not to protect the schools.
He can't make a coach say yes or a school say yes.
I mean, his job is to get the best possible deal for his client.
The entire system might be screwed, but that's not his fault.
Nor is it his
duty to repair it.
I mean, if I hire an agent, I want that agent to do one thing, and that is look out for me.
You don't want him to worry about the sanctity of the process?
I couldn't care less. Couldn't possibly care less. And if I'm a football coach and I'm trying to get the best deal possible, I'm not worried about the greater good of the game. Wouldn't give one damn.
Mm-hmm.
That part always blows me away. But, I think if you're doing a contract now, knowing what we know, it's
$4 million for Herman? Even that feels like a big number, though, at Florida Atlantic.
But look, if you're in a situation and it's broken,
I get it.
You got to make a move. You can't just sit and go. That's why I'm telling you the one that I'm watching a little bit is LSU. I know what the number is,
$61 million.
But I'm telling you, perception, reality, what people expect. He's going to get another year, but the people that like Tyler and I disagree on this vehemently. Ben Tyler's a Brian Kelly guy. That's fine. It's not a criticism. But I don't think LSU's going to go, well, we can't afford to fire Brian Kelly, so we're just going to put up with
We're going to tank the football program.
We're going to put up with mediocrity for 4 more years. I don't buy that at all.
That patience does not exist.
Whether they should or shouldn't is another conversation. They view themselves as a program that should be a perennial playoff team. And if they're not, they're going to fire a coach and try it with the new coach.
It's fair. Speaking of news for the day, how badass were those Army uniforms that came out this morning?
I did see that this morning.
Awesome.
That was pretty cool.
It's Army-Navy reveal day today. Army honoring the 101st Airborne, the Battle of the Bulge, with their uniforms.
And it's conceivable that Army could be in the playoff field already and playing Navy.
Because that game does not count whatsoever. They can lose at 89-0, and it has no bearing whatsoever on their standing at this point. But they have no chance at an at-large without just the level of chaos that would be beyond words at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked.
They would have to pass Boise. They're in if Boise loses.
I mean,
they win out.
If they beat Notre Dame, they get Notre Dame.
Oh, well, that's true.
Saturday.
Yeah. Never mind.
I mean, that would be a big win.
Actually, with a win over Notre Dame, they might jump them. But yes, to your point.
Okay.
Yes, to your point, that game does not matter, and they have to play again, and then play. The problem with the scheduling of that game, too, is you would play the actual Army-Navy game and then have to play a week later. You don't get the off time that everybody else gets. It's all screwed up. Because that game's isolated by itself.
Right.
And it would be played.
Oh, sure.
Nobody's canceling the game.
But they turn around potentially 6 days later and play a playoff game. Of course, nobody at Army is going, hey, let's go win the national title. That's not.
That would be the ultimate Super Bowl of being included in every capacity. It's their first championship game appearance, by the way.
Yeah.
Conference championship game appearance. They're playing Tulane.
Army is?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Army, Tulane.
And that's the week before Army-Navy.
It is.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Army got a lot of games. Got a lot of stuff going on. They got an injured quarterback. They run the triple option. They got a lot of games. It's a little bit of a weird spot for the Black Knights here.
Gotcha.
In this one. But yes, you should go watch the video they put out this morning. It's about 3 minutes. And their media department did one hell of a job debuting their thing. As they do every single year, they make us realize that our entire generation's nothing but a bunch of wimps, and that the things that they accomplished are awesome. So that is what the video will do for you here this morning.
The Battle of the Bulge was not a safe space, by the way.
It was very complicated, very, very dangerous. Yes. A lot of microaggressions
There were a lot of microaggressions.
Speaking of 2024 in the world we're in, the Pop-Tarts Bowl is releasing 3 edible mascots for their bowl game this year that you can just freaking eat. So we got that coming from the Pop-Tarts Bowl this year. 180.
How do you? Oh no, I don't even want to know.
The choices are frosted hot fudge sundae, frosted wild berry, and a third mystery flavor. They think it's going to be cinnamon, by the way. Maybe.
So, the mascots will be walking around, and you can take a bite of a mascot.
It says edible, Neal.
Okay. Where's that game? Orlando.
Oh yeah, that is Orlando, isn't it?
Is that right? I don't know. That was my guess.
I think that's right. I do believe that's correct. How did I get there?
I have no idea.
I don't know what I'm doing this morning. We're all over the place. It's fine. I mean, yes, the Pop-Tarts Bowl is kind of they've done a good job with gimmicks. But I mean, I would much rather go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl and eat a Pop-Tart than I would go to the Duke's thing and get mayonnaise poured all over me.
Yes.
I can take a bite of whatever Pop-Tart flavor you have available there. I think they're a little overrated. They're not a breakfast food, but I'm more than happy to do that compared to the mayonnaise.
Yes.
You don't eat Pop-Tarts. So.
I've not had a Pop-Tart in at least 10 years.
Did you eat Pop-Tarts when you were fat?
Yes.
Was that a thing?
Yes.
Whatever. That's the one thing I have going for me is I've never liked them that much. That's not been one that has stuck out in any capacity.
I always liked the strawberry Pop-Tart. Not frosted. Unfrosted.
Not frosted.
Unfrosted.
You know, we've looked this up. The unfrosted is actually less healthy.
Makes sense.
Because it has more bread.
Yes.
Yes. It's actually worse for you overall than they frosted, which would be a misnomer. You wouldn't expect that. So anyway. We'll start here and then transition, and we'll stay with it after the first break. You pointed it out multiple times there in what he said, what he meant. Lane Kiffin yesterday, a lot of politicking.
Yes.
A lot of locked in.
Yes.
It was a precise, methodical, executed press conference from Mr. Kiffin yesterday. Like, there was no fluff, really. And a guy that pretty confident, pretty excited. I mean, you could read the words and recognize the body language that he feels like his team is very ready to go for these final 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I think he expects to win. I think he expects to win a lot. He likes his team. He was making sure that the committee knows that, hey, we're getting guys back. Now, are those guys coming back? I don't know. No offense to Lane here, but
what are we talking about? Tre Harris? You didn't buy that?
We've been
he
down.
He said it 3 times, Neal.
We've been down.
3.
Jordan Watkins referred to it as if. And I'm
Jordan did?
Jordan did.
So Lane didn't say if. I'll read the quotes in a minute.
I'm just going to say this is not a criticism of Lane. I'm at show me stage.
We're in Missouri.
At 11 a.m. Central Time, if he takes the field with the offense,
I'll be down.
Some bitch he's playing. And if he doesn't, I'll go, oh, wow, he didn't play. There will be no – I think Lane has lost the –
Neal is the jaded ex-girlfriend at this point that goes, I don't believe any of your actions or anything you're saying. I will be pleasantly surprised if you're telling the truth.
That is true.
But I am not playing into your game, sir. That is not where I am right now.
I would say this to Lane's face. He has lost the benefit of the doubt as it pertains to injuries. I'm sorry, but he has. Yes, Drew, thank you for the super chat. He says at the Battle of the Bulge, when asked to surrender by the Germans, the commander of the surrounded 101st Airborne replied, nuts. Can you imagine the HR complaints today? Yes, that was included in the video.
It was in there.
Yeah.
That is why they have Army spelled out the way they do on the back of their uniforms currently.
Correct.
That is true. Hold on a minute. Y'all put butter on your Pop-Tarts?
Absolutely.
Oh, really? I've never had this. I don't know this.
So you broil or toast the Pop-Tart, and when you take it out, you put some butter on it, let the butter melt. It's fantastic.
We're adding butter to a Pop-Tart.
I was very fat. I mean, I'm fat now, but I'm not as fat as I was then.
Hold on a minute. So we're taking a Pop-Tart and then putting – I guess once you've committed to the Pop-Tart, what's the damn difference?
Yeah, I suppose. I really –
Did you drizzle any caramel syrup on top?
No.
Peanut butter?
No.
Did you make a sandwich with 2 of them and put some stuff in the middle?
No, just put butter on it. It was phenomenal.
Really?
Yes.
Just a pat of butter and just
kind of
smear it on.
Kind of let it melt. Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't mind non-toasted Pop-Tarts if I'm going to have one. They don't have to be toasted. I'm fine with them cold. See in the stream we're judging some kids for doing that, but it's fine.
I mean, I'm openly admitting I did it. I'll be judged. I was more overweight than I am today.
Yeah, I've just never. I've not been around anybody that's done that. Not that it's wrong or anything else. I just don't know that one. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, let me read these, then we'll read through this real quick, and then we'll go to break. We'll come back. We'll keep talking about it. Lane, as we were joking, but also being serious, he alluded to Tre Harris multiple times yesterday in the course of this.
He brought it up
in his opening statement before a question was said.
Because I got to be honest with you, and I'm speaking for the handful of us that are there every Monday, asking questions. There's like 4 or 5 of us, and we're all jaded on this injury thing. I don't think anyone was even going to ask him about Lane. I mean, about Tre.
So he opens up with talking about how it's really exciting being toward the end of the season and being healthier. I think we're getting stronger and stronger being out there with Tre now looking like he's ready to go, knowing we haven't had him for about 3.5 games. And at that time, I think Jackson's led the country in passing. So I'm excited to get the best receiver in the country back. And there's some other things. It's our first time without our O-line, first time, blah, 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 blah. Okay, got all that. So he mentions it there.
O-line's healthy.
Yes.
Logan Diggs.
Maybe. He's done more than he's not done.
I loved the Princely was not available for the second half of LSU or the end of Kentucky. I loved that one. It was like, hey, and the 2 games we lost, you need to understand.
That defensive end we got, he wasn't out there. All right.
I mean, we're just campaigning.
Not the worst idea.
No, I mean,
you never know. There's some 10-2 stuff out there. So
sure.
You do what you can do. He goes back to it again on just benefits of the bye week. Been fortunate to have this bye where it was getting players back like Tre Harris or players like Caden Lee, blah, 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 all that good stuff.
Yep.
goes there again, mentions him whatsoever. The importance of getting Tre back.
That was me playing
Neal's
along.
question.
Yeah.
He's the best receiver in the country, coming to add to a team that's been throwing the ball as well as any team in the country without him. Him being hurt's made other people have big games and step up. It's made us design different schemes, work different parts of the field, more tight ends and stuff. You tried to ask about him handling the absence. Been really challenging because he's really wanted to play. It's been close. He would try on Saturdays and couldn't do it. Feels different now. Excited to get back in this. It's great timing. It's great timing.
Yeah. And so someone in the stream says, "Does this mean Williams is back?" Look, I'm going to give you the answer you don't want. I don't know. I'm not going to pay any attention to the practice, to the injury reports. I'm sorry. I don't put validity into them anymore. We'll see on Saturday. I know that's not what people want. I know that's probably not the best podcast fodder. There will be people who will take the injury practice reports today and make multiple content items of them. It is what they come tomorrow. I will pay very little attention to it. They will either play Saturday or they won't. Logan Diggs will either dress and get carries on Saturday or he won't. At this point, this far into the season, that's my response. He'll either play or he won't. Jaden Williams has been dressed for weeks. He hasn't played. Is that because he's not ready? I don't know. He's been dressed. He goes through warm-ups.
He does.
Might mean that they have better players.
Okay. That's what Lane said about Tre Harris. So, yes, he's politicking. We'll continue on in a second and tell you what we think about that and other comments from Mr. Kiffin. But first, I'm going to tell you about the Citizens Bank. Now, this is an account number. You're a valued member of the community, and now you find yourself in the market for a mortgage. Another reason to give them a try. Whit Wilson, many of you know in the mortgage space, is now at Citizens Bank, ready to help you with your real estate goals. Stop by and visit 902 Sisk Avenue, Suite E in Oxford. Discuss your options with Whit or any other experienced bankers who value your financial journey. And while you're in there, ask about School Spirit debit cards. They donate an amount per every transaction to the local school of your choice, whether it's Oxford, Lafayette, or Regents. That's the Citizens Bank. The Citizens Bank, PHILA.com.
We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names. Same great people, products, and services, though. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer at 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, South Haven, that area, get in touch with our friends at Southern, 662-429-4429. I'll have a post-game column to you at some point Saturday afternoon. It's brought to you by Window Hero. Excuse me. From window cleaning to pressure washing, gutter cleaning, gutter guards, and everything in between, Window Hero has the experience, equipment, and expertise to make your property look and feel brand new. If you're in North Mississippi, let Window Hero make your home or business's exterior look amazing. They've got locations in Oxford, Tupelo, Pontotoc, Holly Springs, New Albany, and more. Roby and Susan Allen are dedicated to helping Oxford and all of North Mississippi with their windows, gutters, and everything in between. Call Window Hero at 662-510-7077 to get an estimate or learn more at windowhero.com. We're also brought to you by Rustic Revivals. I have a big MPW digital extra for you on Thursday. 4 guests for that show. Taping those interviews, taped one yesterday, taping a couple of them today. So that's brought to you by Rustic Revivals. Based out of Flowood, Mississippi, Rustic Revivals builds tables and other furniture by hand with locally sourced lumber. The husband and wife team of Josh and Ashley Pierce specialize in custom-ordered tables, beds, dressers, coffee tables, bookshelves, decorative cabinets, and chairs. They deliver within 250 miles of Flowood. And podcast listeners, you get 20% off your purchase by using the code REBELS20. Go to rusticrevivalsms.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/rusticrevivalsms. You can also look at their work on Instagram at Rustic Revivals. Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? Are you already retired? Should you consider Roth conversions? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with the personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Sego Wealth Management specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. Whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere, schedule a free discovery meeting and see what they can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com, rebelsretire.com.
Podcast brought to you by NeSpark, the fastest, most reliable fiber internet option available. Whether you're streaming the Rebels or connecting with family and friends, they offer both residential and business packages. The 100 megabytes is now $300 for the exact same price, and they have speeds up to 2 gigabits. To learn more, register for service, nespark.com. NeSpark, get connected, stay local. Yeah, the stream discussing the butter and coffee. I've never gone that route. I know there are people that do it, but that has not appealed to me in any real way there.
I don't like coffee as much as I used to like coffee.
Why?
I don't know.
The taste, or that it doesn't do anything that you would think placebo or otherwise to help your morning?
I guess it's just that in general, just doesn't do a whole lot for me. I'll have a cup.
Did you like the taste, the effect, or was it more that it was something hot?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. I've had coffee every morning since like the
Basically
4th grade.
adulthood.
No, I was drinking coffee in elementary school. But I'll still have it, but I don't always go back for a second cup, and I don't always even finish the first cup anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and I used to have 3-4 cups.
Tower says it's because you're having so much rain in the stream.
I mean, Carson's the one that drinks all the rain in our house.
Good bit.
Yeah. It's part of his superstitions.
Is it really?
Yes.
Same flavor and everything? Or does it matter?
I'm not sure about flavor. I haven't asked. I don't need to go down that road where then I have to go, hey, did you have your rain? I just let it be.
It's better for you mentally to avoid that entire situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do your thing. Go play. Good luck.
We just took a Lane yesterday about the SEC championship game. Gives an honest answer. Gives an answer that he wasn't crazy about giving in his own words.
Yeah.
He and I mean this completely above board. Like he struggled with it for a second, trying to figure out what to say while acknowledging good question, but hard question.
Jake Thompson asked the question. It was a good question.
Because the answer is they don't want to play in it. They'd rather just guarantee their inclusion in the playoff versus the possible benefit of getting the bye, also getting people hurt, playing another game, not having a bye week, all the stuff there. But, I mean, I think the subtext and the tea leaves were also that, he was aware the conference would not be overly thrilled about that statement.
Well, screw the conference because he's right. Look, here's the thing. Like, if Texas A&M wins their
that's what he was grappling.
If
Greg's going to yell at me.
Yeah, but Greg's going to be fighting an uphill battle on this one. I mean, if Texas A&M beats Auburn and Texas, that's it. If Texas A&M beats Auburn and Texas, now they're not guaranteed to win those 2 games, but that's all it takes for the following to happen. You have a glut of 2-loss SEC teams, and 2 of them have to go to Atlanta and play a game. And one of them's going to lose. And according to my ULM math, that'll be a 3rd loss.
They're not going to be punished, though. I really do not believe so.
But unless they get guaranteed that, like in blood, nobody wants to go play the damn game. And so you have coaches that are like, I'd really rather not play for a championship.
Well, you don't want to play. I think the biggest reason you don't play the game is you get somebody hurt and you just get the hell bit out of you by another team that also is really good.
Yes, and that was Lane doing the SEC's better than the Big Ten thing. And it is. But listen, I know Rosillo talked about this yesterday, and I think Ryan's terrific at what he does. I think he's the best sports podcaster.
He's very good
on the globe. That said, if y'all think they're leaving out an 11-1 Big Ten team, you are out of your minds. I mean, the only way
is Indiana left out in the tiebreaker in the Big Ten title game at 11-1?
Yeah.
Or can they lose a second time?
No, they're out.
They are out.
They would be 11-1.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just not happening. I guess if you told me Ohio State 52, Indiana 3, where anyone with a pulse could look at it and go, they don't belong. Okay. But if you tell me it's Ohio State 31, Indiana 17, Chase, they're in. They're 1 loss. I think they're hosting. I think this let me see if I can pull it back up.
It's Austin Mock.
I got it. Austin Mock's mock today.
Yeah.
And now look, he's having essentially to predict games, which is not fair. And he would probably tell you that some of these things are going to work themselves out. Maybe all of these things will work themselves out. But today, he's got his projected top rankings thing. Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Miami at 10, SMU at 11, Tennessee, Boise, BYU, Texas A&M.
Okay.
Colorado's 16.
So Ole Miss would be ranked 8, but it'd be the 10 seed because of the way the conferences work.
And by the way, South Carolina is doing, all of you Ole Miss people, they're doing the Lord's work. They're up to 18. You should be
because look, if Carolina goes 9-3 and beats Clemson, they're going to be like freaking 13.
Yeah, because
by the end of this,
Clemson's 17.
Yeah,
South Carolina can really you guys want another. You should be Gamecock fans the rest of the way. But he's got. I think as of today, he's right. I really do. He's got the 4 on-campus games being Alabama at Notre Dame, the 9-8. He's got BYU as the 12, going to Columbus to play Ohio State. So he's got Oregon winning the Big Ten.
Okay.
He's got Ole Miss going to Bloomington to play Indiana. So he's got Indiana as the 7. So he's assuming, I think, an Indiana loss to Ohio State.
He is.
And he's got Penn State, who would also be 11-1, not having to play a championship game, as the 6 playing 11th seeded Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're going to divide up the SEC teams. They're gonna. They're just. I'll be shocked if they don't. And that makes sense.
Well, if you're Ole Miss, you want that. You want to go to Indiana or Penn State, not Georgia or Alabama.
Yeah, but I think my point is there's this argument from people out there that's going, well, Indiana's not going to get in. I'm like, yeah, they are. They're not going to screw the Big Ten, and they're not going to screw the SEC. But here's the problem they've got with this stupid Notre Dame thing that they did, and with this stupid Group of 5 thing that they did. What do you do if that scenario happens and Texas A&M beats Auburn and beats Texas? I don't even know who goes to Atlanta at that point. But if you tell me the game doesn't matter, so, okay, then they're all 5 in? Because now you've got, what, 6 10-2 teams?
6.
They're not getting 6.
There's a scenario for 6, I think.
So
because Texas winning out actually saves you there because there's only 5. You know, it's whatever.
Yes. But Lane's point was, hey, look, and then you got to go play a good team. And his argument was the SEC's better. And I think he's right, by the way.
Well, it's certainly better past like 3. I mean, the Big Ten, I'll give you Ohio State and Oregon all day. And Penn State's not a bad team. Indiana's played really well, but they've played literally no one.
Yeah.
Not their fault.
No. I
guess, and this is an SEC thing, I'm just struggling with it's not your fault, but so now we're going to make you the 3 seed. It's like, well, okay, but
okay, we're going to punish Texas? They didn't make their SEC schedule.
What's my point? I mean, I don't.
They didn't.
I think you're potentially, and again, I think there's possible everything's going to change. And look, we're going to go to 9 games at some point in the SEC, and you'll have a little more balance, at least a little bit, which might remove some of this 10-2. But next year, there's not. Next year, there's going to be 8 games again.
Yeah.
So we are setting a precedent where, okay, we're going to split it half and half, but there is the really honest, logical possibility that every single year, all the SEC teams have to go on the road to Big Ten teams because the Big Ten wins more games.
Yeah.
It's a system.
I'm not arguing.
It just is. It's stupid.
But how do you discern? I mean,
numbers, strength of schedule. I mean, we get numbers.
But I mean, okay, so I'm not arguing. But how would you justify going? Okay, we're going to send Indiana to Ole Miss. Ole Miss lost twice, including to Kentucky,
and their strength of schedule is 85 points higher.
I understand, but they lost to Kentucky.
Okay,
you're going to send Notre Dame to Tuscaloosa. Alabama lost at Vanderbilt. I mean, that's their argument.
But they beat Georgia. They beat Tennessee.
I get
or
it.
whoever we're talking about.
I get it.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
Indiana beat whom?
That's what,
Michigan?
I'm telling you that's what's coming.
So we're going to do it every year then?
I don't know. I don't know what we're doing every year. I don't know what anybody format was stupid. Because they did that inclusion shit. That whenever we do that, it's a participation trophy. And whenever you do that, it's a joke. We had to include the group of 5. No, you didn't. Could have said sue us. We'll see you. Are you really telling me Boise State belongs in this tournament? It's the eyesore. It's like when you were a little kid and you had to pick the one that didn't belong. Remember that in kindergarten?
Oh, yeah.
Pick the one that doesn't belong.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty easy. Boise State. When they do the lineup, which one doesn't belong? Them. They don't belong.
Thing is, though, if they win out, they might be top 12 anyway. Or 13 right now.
But that's a flaw.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying.
I mean,
they are being really propped right now by that close Oregon loss.
I mean, what would you rather have? I mean, Ohio State versus BYU? I mean, he's got Boise as the 4.
Because they're going to be ranked higher than the Big 12 champion.
I mean, holy shit, if that's the case.
Look at Ohio State's path in that. Ohio State would have to go through SMU in Boise.
They would have to go through they would have to go through BYU, then Boise, and then they'd probably play Oregon a third time.
Okay.
They'd have to play Oregon, Notre Dame, or Alabama. Ole Miss's path would be Indiana, Texas, and then Penn State, Georgia, or Miami. And for the sake of this conversation, I'm trying to stay out of what's the best path for Ole Miss to win. I'm trying to look at like the whole product thing. How do you? I mean, in that scenario where Texas A&M wins their next 2 games, you have to, and Notre Dame wins out, you have to screw 2 SEC teams. Because they're not going to take 5 SEC and 3 Big Ten. They're just not.
No, Pate said that this morning, and he was pandering because he.
What did he say? I didn't hear.
He said all 5 are getting in, and they're not.
Well, then to do that, you have to leave out one of the 11 and 1 Big Ten teams. So you better hope that Ohio State lays the wood on Indiana. 50 points.
Josh has a very difficult job filling up hours by himself every day. He also has gotten into the world now of pandering and just kind of changing his mind every 2 minutes to make clips. And I have a hard time staying with it. It's complicated.
I like Josh, but I don't know.
It's college football. There's 3 weeks left. Somebody's going to lose.
Well,
it's going to solve itself. And frankly, Notre Dame losing would assist a lot of this. If Army or USC could pull it off.
Sure. And I mean, look, there's going to be an upset.
Yeah. Somebody's getting beat.
Someone's going to lose. I mean, Ole Miss has to beat Florida. They hadn't done it yet.
Yeah.
Got to go win the game. Based on what I saw yesterday, I'd bet on them.
They seemed in good shape.
But, yeah, I mean, Alabama's still got to win the Iron Bowl. Georgia's got to beat Georgia Tech. I mean, it was the funny part of SEC Shorts yesterday, but, I mean, it's real.
No, not wrong.
I mean, Georgia Tech's going to line up and get after them. Notre Dame's got to beat Army. It's conceivable, I guess, that Indiana, this will be their first real game, that they play somebody and Ohio State just obliterates them.
I don't expect them to get just completely walloped.
I don't either.
I think they're losing. I don't think they're a top 5 team.
I guess
but
it's conceivable that they go there and win, and then Ohio State's in trouble. I don't know what all that looks like. Who knows?
Ohio State favored by 13.5 in that game.
I mean, it's pretty rare for 13.5-point underdogs to win games outright. It happens, but it's rare.
I thought the Ole Miss Florida over under 55.5 felt high. Felt like a big number.
Which one?
Ole Miss Florida, 55.5. That feels big, does it not?
I mean, they're
31-24 doesn't go over.
Their secondary is 3 corners and 1 safety down, and Ole Miss has lit people up recently.
And Florida lives off big play. They don't drive on you. They need big plays. They're not a go hold the ball 13 plays and convert a bunch of third downs. It's not who they are.
Did you watch LSU's body language?
I did.
They were quitting.
I said 93 plays to 45. Florida only ran 45 offensive plays and won a game by double digits.
Mm-hmm.
They hit big plays, took advantage of a couple mistakes, and won a game.
Yeah.
And LSU was LSU. Late in the year when things are...
They're troubled.
They're troubled.
I don't know whether Vandy's healthy enough to do it. I said this on McCready and Siski yesterday, and this is the truth. Tiger Stadium is one of those places that when they've got it going, when they're rolling, that place is a hard place to play. It's loud. It's intimidating. They get going. It's legit. But when they don't have it rolling, their people don't not show up. Their people show up and get angry at them. It becomes a home field disadvantage. And you're going to get some of that Saturday. You're going to get some pissed off people that come to the game to vent at their team. They're not taking out their aggression on Vanderbilt. They're taking out their aggression on the team with the yellow pants.
Are they wearing that yellow jersey on Saturday? They've debuted a new yellow jersey. LSU.
If I were them, I would not advise that.
Okay.
If I were in the room, I'd be like, hey, look, I know we got some things we don't.
The marketing department I know called and they'd like
I get it. Let's just go with the yellow helmet, the white shirt, and the yellow pant. Let's not give extra. Yeah, let's just do our thing.
Yeah, here you go. Hold on. Yeah, LSU football. It's a verified account.
Okay.
Got some new golds for this Saturday night in Death Valley.
Oh, that's not smart.
They're wearing a gold jersey that has the purple and white UCLA stripes on the shoulders.
It's just ill-advised.
So they're wearing them with purple pants? What pants are they wearing with that?
I would guess.
Are they wearing gold? Are they wearing gold on gold on gold?
I would guess white pants.
I think I'm with you. You're debuting a new jersey. LSU gets really pissed off about jersey color changes.
Yeah.
Like I was watching a little bit of Moscone in them the other night, and they were bitching about he remarked it to some game in the early 90s or late 80s when they had a purple jersey or something. Mm-hmm. It was like, that matters that much?
Well, I mean, come on. Before Lane Kiffin, nobody could touch Ole Miss's uniforms.
They pulled out. They were making a joke this morning on the message board about the grays back in the Houston days.
Yeah. It did not go over well.
They didn't.
I was there.
The team also was bad. It affected it, though. If you win a big game in them, no matter what they look like, people like them a little more.
Yeah.
They wore them against Cam, for God's sake.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of upside. They were bad. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying when you're losing, it doesn't freaking matter.
But 5 years ago, if I had told you that, hey, Ole Miss is going to basically abandon the gray pant, you would have been like, no way. Too much.
Well, that's
Lane Kiffin came in and went, I don't like those.
But yet he threw out the
I'll humor you here and there, but I'm not doing this much.
That's a great pant for Georgia Southern guys. Awesome.
It's the white pant with the purple L. That's what they're wearing. Yeah, I don't know.
White helmet, yellow helmet.
I don't know. It's ill-advised on their. Hey, we planned this all year. Yeah, I know. You probably ought to shift.
Well, it's a good point. Ole Miss baseball does hate certain jersey colors and find that as the reason they lose games. That's been the case for a long time.
Yeah.
It's fair. I get it. Think Ole Miss is going to wear the powder white again because they've had a lot of success in it lately on Saturday? I think it's becoming a trendy suit.
Probably.
Because they wore it at Carolina and at Arkansas.
I mean, if it works.
It's not usually Lane's shtick.
No, but Lane right now cares about one thing.
Getting a W and getting on the bus.
That's it. He doesn't give it.
He's not in cute mode right now.
No. The hey, let's have a different uniform for all 12 games thing was cute. I don't think that's my point. Like sometimes you shift into
they're in a different stratosphere now.
Let's just win the game.
Well, he kind of said that. I mean, it was I think you mentioned you love a bunch of follow-ups. He was talking about getting to this point and that it's not linear. It goes up and down, and it takes some time, and suddenly poof, and you're here. And I've kind of felt like it with Lane the last 3 or 4 weeks, even. I mean, basically since the LSU losses, they've won games and whatnot, and kind of gotten back into this picture. Is there's a lot of, this doesn't mean he's here 25 years, but a lot of personal fulfillment. Like he feels the change and structure in.
I mean, he did it.
And where they are. I mean, there's a, oh wow, now we're here. This is it. This is. You've spent all this time to get to a place where you can win 2 games against, frankly, 2 average and bad teams to go to the college football playoff.
Yes, 2 teams that have a combined SEC record of 3-10.
Yes, you win both those games and you are in. Barring craziness, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty. Ole Miss is in. I think I'm convinced I'm right, and if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. I'll come right here and go, hey, I was wrong. It won't be difficult for me to do that. But I think I'm right. I think they're in with 2 wins, and they pay their Kentucky penance in the form of you're going on the road.
Yeah, Jamie said, Neal, glad you asked the question about Tre coming back and Dart focusing on him. That worries me. I thought Lane, he avoided the question a little bit. Didn't really answer what you asked, but he did say they had to do some new things, so it'd be great to have Tre back in that equation. But it was a little shaky on what you were talking about.
Again, I'm going to believe Tre Harris playing when I see it. I'm not saying he's not, but it's going to take him playing for me to go, yeah, he's playing.
But like Lane is a coach. I agree with you. He doesn't think that Billy all of a sudden watched that and went, oh God, guys, hey, Tre's coming back now, so let's go out here at practice. Hey, cat coverage. You got him. Come on.
No, I mean, but they've got film of the last 3 games without Harris. I don't know that you put a lot in this late in the year. You just go play.
You got your guys and they got their guys, and we're going to see what happens.
Here's what we do.
And there might be a little bit of smoke and mirror and whatnot,
sure.
But
look, they'll do what everybody else does, including Ole Miss. In the pregame, they'll have coaches that are out there watching the warm-up to see who's warming up.
Who's there? They hobbled. Okay, cool.
And Tre didn't warm up in Fayetteville. He didn't warm up before Georgia. He didn't. I was there. I mean, people kept going, Tre's warming up, and I'm like, no, he's not. I mean, I'm scouring the field looking for him, and they're like, he's out there. It's number 9. I'm like, no, that's Tre Amos. He's not out there. He's not there. And then he came out. People are like, well, he ran out of the tunnel. I'm like, okay.
It is a little confusing when you have 2 number 9s and they both are skill players.
It is. But when one's doing DB drills and the other one's not with the receivers, there are some clues.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, he's not. And then he comes out and he's again.
You will believe it when you see it.
I will, and I'm sorry if that makes me a jerk. Then I'm not trying to be a jerk. At this point, we've played games with he's close and he's not, and other people are like, no, he's never playing football again. I mean, there's all this stuff that's out there, and you know my theory is proven accurate every time in the void of
on extremes.
And so I don't know. We'll see on Saturday.
He has one leg. He's great.
We'll see on Saturday.
Somewhere in the scale.
He'll either play or he won't. And if he does, great. And if he doesn't, I'm not surprised. We'll just see.
Let's look at some more games in a minute. But first, the Declaration of Independence Center for the Study of American Freedom is located on the Ole Miss campus and aims to explore and examine the fundamental and founding principles of the United States of America. The center offers an academic minor in freedom studies, scholarship opportunities for Ole Miss students. They also bring a lot of networking potential. They have events, they have salons, they have ways to get involved. So to learn more, contact Stephen Skoltetti at freedom@olemiss.edu or visit independence.olemiss.edu.
Brought to you by Grenada Home Center. They've got paints by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paints, Farrell Calhoun, flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, whether you're looking for granite, quartz, or anything else. They've got window treatments from plantation shutters to whatever else suits your fancy. I've done nothing to the audio, so I have no idea. I don't hear it in my headphones. I hear normal audio.
Our levels look good. Yeah, go ahead.
It's Grenada Home Center, 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada. Call them at 662-226-3127. It might be connectivity. I don't know. Arnett's Fine Jewelry is a 4th-generation jeweler located in the old Lammon's Jewelry Building on North Lamar Avenue in Oxford. Put your headset on, see if you hear.
Okay, go ahead.
They offer expert jewelry repair, diamond engagement rings, wedding bands, stackable diamonds, genuine stone bands, and much, much more. If you're looking for a gift, it is Christmas season, by the way. Now is a perfect time to go to Arnett's because they want to be your jeweler. College Corner is the place to go if you're looking for a gift for the Ole Miss fan in your life. Their newest location, of course, in the Oxford Commons, right off of Sisk Avenue. They have more than 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear, plenty of parking available. Their staff's going to have you in and out, ready for the Grove, ready for Vaught Hemingway in no time. Also 2 locations in the Jackson area. And you can go online at collegecornerstore.com. We're brought to you by our friends at Argent Wealth. When you work with Argent Wealth's 401k advisory services, you gain a valuable advisory team and time-saving resource that will help you develop and maintain a solid strategy for your retirement plan. They're committed to providing you with the personalized attention and involvement that you want and need. Their goal is to help you manage your 401k plan properly and ultimately improve your employees' retirement readiness. It's myargentwealth.com. And we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're planning a trip that you want to be one that creates a lifetime of unique memories, get in touch with John. Give him some parameters, give him a budget. He's going to give you options that you're probably not going to find on your own. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com.
It appears that it is a YouTube issue and not us, which is kind of nice. Podcast brought to you by Johnston Hill Creamery, johnstonhillcreamery.com. Chicory Market is where they're located now. Tailgate packages. There is a football game at home left at Mississippi State the day after Thanksgiving, so you can pick up day of game, day before game. They'll take care of you. Johnston Hill Creamery, or if it's not in a catering tailgating situation, to see what they have available. Charcuterie trays, artisanal cheese trays, sandwiches, desserts, plenty of stuff there with Johnston Hill Creamery. Again, order everything directly online. You can do that. johnstonhillcreamery.com. Yeah, if you leave and come back in, it appears to be working, and it is a YouTube issue. We had no connectivity issue at all as I was going through it. So I don't know. I checked speed for us. Everything was fine. And we could hear each other. Okay. It was not anything on our end from a mic standpoint. So sometimes it happens. Sometimes you're dealing with the internet. It is what it is. All right. So we've hit some of these. Georgia Tech, speaking of, they do get Georgia. They're a 9-point favorite against the NC State team. It's been very mid over the course of this season. Dave Doran having an average year, 5-5, 2-4 there for the Wolfpack. Ole Miss and Florida, as we said, that line now sitting at 10.5. It's kind of bounced all around. It was at 11.5. It fell to 9 or 9.5. Now at 10.5 with that over-under of 55.5 currently. Are you?
Yep.
Felt like a very confident head coach yesterday. That's what it did.
I'm laying them.
And I think Florida's going to have that problem of getting back up again. I mean, you got off. I mean, emotionally, that was a big win for that program. It was a huge win for that program.
Yeah.
LSU was still on the helmet over there.
Well, we do a lot of talk about Ole Miss's offense. The reason that they're in this spot is because of what they've done defensively.
Oh, they're good defensively. So I read about Amos last week. We talk about the defensive line and stuff so much, and the linebackers to an extent. They've had a really good year with Daugherty and Paul and what that's looked like. But, I mean, Amos has taken away one side of the field, and they moved Kennedy in the middle of the year into a spot that he's been much more productive. Teams aren't even really throwing at him very much. The last 2 or 3 weeks, no one's thrown at Kennedy. So suddenly you're not exposing Ole Miss on the outsides from a corner receiver standpoint. Now they are very soft in the middle on pass coverage because their linebackers are not very good in pass coverage.
Right.
But what happens is that defensive line is good enough. They make it very complicated to get balls off because they pressure so much. And I mean, as Lane said, it's not just leading the country. they're running up some historic type sacks and pressure numbers as
Yeah.
this thing goes on and on and on of the last 20, 25 years.
Lagway's really good. He's going to give them a chance in every game they play. But I don't know how healthy he is, and I don't know how well they'll hold up against.
And he's got to be able to
Ole
move
Miss's
a little
pass
bit. He's
rush.
got to be able to move better than he moved on Saturday.
But
He had 0 scrambles.
he lives up to the hype.
He's talented.
He's a legitimately talented football player.
Wake Forest is not going to get Miami and make this easier on Saturday for anybody. They're in Coral Gables. Miami favored by 24.5. I like it.
Wake sucks.
They do.
I saw them in person. I don't need to see anything else.
SMU is probably going to go to Charlottesville and dispatch of Virginia on Saturday. SMU minus 9.5. They're trying to get 10-1, 7-0 on their season.
I mean, Virginia, they do.
They have a pulse.
They do some things. SMU's going to win that game.
Virginia's 5-5. Rutgers Illinois looking for their 8th win of the season. They're at Rutgers on Saturday. Sneaky good game on the Peacock.
Brett's done a good job.
Rutgers -1 there. I'm happy for Luke Altmaier and having a good year here. But the Illini, your Iowa Hawkeyes are 6-4 on the season. They are in College Park, Maryland on Saturday to face the Terrapins.
Okay.
4-6 for Maryland. You hadn't talked about Iowa much this year.
No, I hadn't had a chance to watch. I have watched less Big Ten than I normally do.
Did you know UConn's 7-3?
I did not.
They are.
How about that?
Syracuse is 7-3. They play each other this weekend.
Awesome. You looked at me like you were waiting for a response, and so I gave you one.
It's on the ACC network this weekend.
Great.
Boston College looking for bowl eligibility, hosting North Carolina. Georgia plays UMass this week. UMass has already hosted Missouri, so now and State. So they're playing their 3rd SEC team.
I like the chances to go 0-3.
Their checkbook's happy, though.
Sure.
Their checkbook is happy. UMass's AD understands the assignment and goes, you know what, guys? Outside of the conference, tell you what you're going to do.
If UMass shut it down, would anyone notice? Outside of UMass?
Maybe. I think there's an argument less than any other Division FBS team in the country. There's the argument UMass would notice less than any other FBS team in the country. It would be in the run with, like, Temple. A few of them, maybe. Something like that. Tennessee hosting UTEP. Sure, whatever. Florida State's going to get a second win. They play Charleston Southern on Saturday.
Got to do it first.
That's going to be an attendance hall in Tallahassee, isn't it? 1-9 Florida State hosting 1-10 Charleston Southern.
Over under 25,000 actual people in the stadium. Actual human beings.
Do I get to count the teams and the game ops?
No, people. Fans.
In the crowd.
Fans.
Under.
Yeah.
Under.
I agree.
I covered Ole Miss Northwestern State. Under. I think Ole Miss announced like 19,000 or something that day.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 20-something, but either way. Yes, if you're having spotty audio, get out, come back in. It should cure it. Our thing says excellent condition, so it's whatever's going on. That's where we are. ULM not able to do it against Auburn. They play Arkansas State to try to get bowl eligibility there in Jonesboro. I don't think they're going to pull it off.
Not going to happen.
Arkansas State favored by 3.
We just didn't have enough to get all the way to the...
Just didn't have enough.
Just didn't get to 6.
Not enough guns in the bullet.
Got to 5.
Not enough bullets in the gun.
Got to 5.
Southern Miss, by the way, is 1-9. They're hosting South Alabama on Saturday in Hattiesburg.
They'll be 1-10 when that's over.
South Alabama trying to get to bowl eligibility. They're 5-5, 4-2 in the belt.
They're going to get there Saturday.
Who's the interim for USM?
I don't know.
I don't either. Have we heard anything on who they're hiring? What's that look like?
I've spent 0 time thinking about that.
Okay.
Sorry.
That conversation we had on this podcast about Derek Nix is where you began and ended as far as the Southern Miss head coaching position.
It ended there.
Charlotte fired their head coach yesterday. The dude, what's his name? Buff or Boog or whatever.
Baji.
Yeah. He wouldn't fit at Ole Miss.
No.
Wouldn't be a good fit.
No.
Kentucky getting 20.5 in Austin on Saturday. You're laying them, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's,
Kentucky has quit.
Yeah, I mean, they beat up on Murray State, but
What's an in-state rivalry? Had to make sure you take care of business.
yeah. Well, he didn't need to lose that one.
Is he going to leave? Is he going to quit? Can he get out? Can he get out?
I mean, where's he going?
That's what I'm asking. Or I mean, he's making $9 million a year, and he likes horses. He's cool for as long as.
I mean, he's
They
not.
can't fire him.
No, he's not quitting.
Can he get a gig?
I mean, I don't know what Iowa would do in a world where Kirk Ferentz retired. It's the one. It's the one that he gets linked to, but only
you're going to grab the Kentucky coach after this season?
I mean, not me.
Recency bias does matter with donors and boosters and whatnot.
If I'm a Iowa person in the room, I'm like, hey, let's
go see what's out there.
Let's see what's out there. We're a Big Ten team with some stuff.
20.5 in Austin.
I'd probably lay in them.
Can Minnesota and PJ Fleck do the Lord's work for Ole Miss and knock off Penn State on Saturday?
I don't think so.
Penn State minus 12 in Minneapolis?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Beat them? Probably not. Hang with them? Sure.
Over under 44.5. That's a big number in the Big Ten.
I mean, if you told me they lose by 9, I buy it. But beat them? Probably not.
2 games with huge Big 12 ramifications on Saturday. BYU at Arizona State and Colorado at Kansas. Everybody saw that coming in September.
I will say this, BYU at Arizona State on a watchability scale is pretty high.
Arizona State minus 3.5 at home. They're at Sun Devil Stadium hosting BYU.
Kenny Dillingham scares me a little bit. Like, I watch him on the sideline. I really don't want to be near that guy.
You wouldn't want to play for him?
I might want to play for him. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be near him.
He makes you nervous.
He might just.
He's very intense.
He looks like he's just going to launch into like a karate thing at any moment.
Very
and just hurt someone.
Hi-ya a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, he's just insane. I think I like my people a little calmer.
He's done a hell of a job.
He's done a hell of a job.
Arizona State 8-2, 5-2 in the Big 12. BYU 9-1, 6-1. Colorado 8-2, 6-1. And then Kansas 4-6, 3-4, but coming off that win over BYU. Gonna be tough for Kansas.
Who's in that title game? Big 12 title game? Because the winner of that's going to the playoff and the loser's out.
It's most likely the winner of BYU, Arizona State, and Colorado.
Okay.
I think the 2 winners on Saturday have the inside track without doing a ton of research on this. Wisconsin, Nebraska. Oh, Stanford and Cal's on Saturday. Ooh, I'm going to put the butts in the seats, 2:30. ACC game there in Berkeley.
So stupid.
Oklahoma State 3-7, 0-7 in the Big 12. 0-7.
Yeah. There were some warning signs early. They should have lost to Arkansas.
They should have.
Yeah.
We saw that differently at the time. We did not realize the level of bad that Oklahoma State was.
Well, I was trying to tell people, hey, we don't know what we're looking at, so be careful. And I'll do it again next September, and everyone will still do the hot takes.
Missouri is at Mississippi State, so they'll get healthy on Saturday against the Bullies. Missouri giving 8 in Starkville. Brady Cook's back. They played well against South Carolina. I will give them credit. They had a lot of fight.
I'm curious to see what Cook does. I mean, he is such a Missouri guy that he'll play, but he's got a broken wrist.
Did he play pretty well Saturday?
I thought he did.
Okay. I watched none of that.
I saw the end.
Army is getting
the catch that Luther Burden made down the stretch was incredible. My God, what a stud.
Army getting 14 from Notre Dame in South Bend. Army they play right into Notre Dame strengths. Like, I just can't see this one.
I think Notre Dame's going to pop them.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel – this doesn't feel upset alert.
I know this is not a popular take, but I actually think Notre Dame's pretty good.
And they're susceptible on teams that can throw the football.
Right.
You can throw on them. You can out-athlete them a little bit. You don't necessarily run right at them.
Like, I think Ole Miss would throttle them.
Yeah, because it's just the matchup is not good.
But I do think they're a good team. And they got a good quarterback. Leonard's a good player.
I mean, like Notre Dame, if somehow they run into Boise, they're going to pop Boise in the playoff.
Yes. Yeah, they'll hold Jonty or whatever his name is to 41 yards.
Boise State's in Laramie on Saturday against 2-8 Wyoming. So there's Boise State and Jonty.
I just
256 carries, 1,893 yards, 26 touchdowns.
I'm not putting him on my ballot.
Are you protesting the strength of schedule?
A little bit, yeah. It's not doing it.
You don't want to be the guy that, like, if you had a Connerly vote, you pick the Delta State kid and go, well, he had a really great year. It's like, yep, I mean, sure, but Jackson Dart would have had a really great year in D2 too.
Who would you give the Connerly to this year?
Ole Miss is really fortunate that you pick one player from. Don't you pick one player from every school?
Yeah.
So that player will win.
Right. So who do you pick? Because, I mean, Dart's going to be the guy that gets it, but is Jackson Dart Ole Miss's MVP? No offense to Jackson Dart.
The problem is defensively, I can't pick one. Because honestly, their most consistent player all year has been Jared Ivey.
Yeah.
I would be tempted to pick Jared Ivey. Now, would he ever be the guy? No.
No.
He's not even the biggest name on that defense. It's going to be Dart. I mean, look at his stats. I mean, hell, he's leading the country in passing, basically. He's thrown a couple of interceptions. Like, he's been awesome, statistically.
Who's going to win the Unitas? Top quarterback.
I do think Dart has a chance of winning one of them, whether it be the Maxwell or the Unitas or one of those.
Because I'm not in on the Cam Ward thing.
No, and he's kind of been moved out. I actually think there's a chance for Dart to win one of the down ballot awards on those things.
Tre Harris was on his way to winning the Bolitnikoff, and then he's
taking it.
He missed too many games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Still third in the SEC in catches.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The Coleman kid at State and Armstrong at Arkansas are slightly ahead of him.
Everybody's just in a bad mood for this Washington State-Oregon State game, right? Like, everybody in the entire crowd's pissed off for both teams. We have no home.
I would think so.
We're just here.
Well, no, they're in the Pac-12 now. They got a new Pac-12 coming.
Oh,
Boise, your boys from Boise, they're joining.
Okay.
Oh, they are. San Jose, Boise,
San Diego State,
UNLV,
is that right?
San Diego State. Yeah, it's a whole new world.
That league sucks.
Oh, I forgot about Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, he's going to win a lot of them.
That's fine. I mean,
Alabama favored by 14 in Norman on Saturday. Laying them. Or is this a game where Oklahoma at least kind of muddies it up for a minute and makes it a little more?
I kind of wonder if Oklahoma doesn't make a little noise in this one before Alabama pulls away.
Really?
A little bit.
You're not putting them on upset alert or something?
No. But, like, if you told me Oklahoma lost by 12.
Okay.
I kind of like the Oklahoma quarterback. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I do too.
And now that they've gotten rid of the coordinator and let him go play, he's actually played better.
Okay. Let's look at the final games on the slate in a second. First, tell you about the men's clinic that's in Madison and Brandon. So if you're dealing with low energy levels, no motivation, decrease in muscularity, difficulty sleeping, low sex drive, and plenty of other ailments, they can help you out. They optimize testosterone, they improve insulin resistance, reduce inflammation, look at your gut microbiome, and they improve your sleep too. That's themanthing.com, because their whole goal is to make sure that you remain as healthy and as strong as possible throughout the aging process. They optimize all the things we mentioned and more, and they're located in Madison and Brandon. You go see them for a first appointment. They can work with you from pretty much anywhere. They're doing it with me right now following that appointment. So again, in Madison, that's 601-607-7869, themanthing.com.
Are you a displaced corporate executive wanting to put your career in your own hands? Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? If so, Andy Ludicky can help. He is a diehard college football fan, franchise veteran, owns multiple franchises and businesses, uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy. Put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net or Andy at myperfectfranchise.net. You can also call him, 404-973-9901. Located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana, Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it. They've got Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA. It's got obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from their favorite farm in Washington. Expect pungent grapefruit aromas and flavors, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most double IPAs. It is a terrific beer, just like everything from Parrish. If you're out getting beer and you see Parrish, it's good to go. Elevate your game day look with socks that financially support the Rebels. Every step you take shapes the future of Ole Miss athletics. Visit deadsoxy.com and choose a subscription to receive the latest in Ole Miss styles every month or at an interval that best suits you. With a subscription, you'll get 25% off member pricing, free shipping, and a free pair of Juice Kiffin socks with your first order. Only 100 of these exclusive socks remain. Take the next step and upgrade your socks. And as always, stay socksy. And I don't think we've mentioned Wendy's Nugs today. If you haven't had Wendy's Nugs dipped in sauce, you should try them. But even if you have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. That's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and prepare to nug like you have never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. They also can transfer your medications very easily. One phone call, they take care of the rest. So whether you're in Holly Springs or Oxford, again, that is 662-236-2222. Texas A&M and Auburn, we mentioned it might be a weird spot, and Vegas not throwing some huge line on this game. A&M just -2.5 on the Plains on Saturday.
For some reason, I kind of like Auburn here. Just kind of like Auburn.
I agree with you.
A&M's kind of weird. They're a home road team.
Mm-hmm.
At home, they're
really good.
Really good. On the road, they've got
popped in Columbia.
South Carolina's good, but yeah. I mean, South Carolina's much better than Auburn, but
it has a chance. Hughes' last stand here. He's known to get one occasionally.
Yeah. He'll pull out some.
And he's not going to get Alabama.
He'll have some staffer write him a speech.
Are we going to lock the gate and pick a fight? Are we going to play for family? What are we doing on Saturday?
It'll depend on which one of his staffers write the speech.
Okay.
He'll take credit for it if it works, of course, but
okay.
He did not write the play.
You don't know what the theme should be?
No. I mean,
he didn't write. We need the guys from Cali and
he did not.
Chicago. And
I know who wrote that.
Atlanta.
I know who wrote it. He did not write it.
He memorized it.
He did.
Did a good job.
He did. He did not write the speech.
He did not write the sermon.
He did not.
Okay. LSU -8 against your Doors.
I'm taking Vanderbilt in the points.
Vanderbilt has been undervalued by Vegas all year. Because nobody wants to bet on Vanderbilt.
LSU's on quit watch.
It's night game in Death Valley.
It does again.
I know
it works against them in this case. LSU would have a much better chance if this game were earlier in the day, because their fans wouldn't be
giving it time to get your own fans mad at you.
Yes, they're going to spend the day drinking, getting pissed off. They're going to be talking at their tailgate about how
it's Vanderbilt
horrible literally Brian Kelly is, and they're going to show up at the stadium, and the first time, literally the first play that goes bad, they're going to start losing it. You watch. That's what they do.
By late third, they literally could be pulling for Diego Pavia.
1,000%.
To force LSU to do something.
Yeah.
USC, UCLA playing a very nondescript rivalry game this weekend. One team 5-5, one team 4-6 there in their first season in the Big Ten. I didn't even know UCLA had gotten to 4.
Yeah. I didn't know USC had gotten to 5.
Yeah. Is Moore Mall still playing, or are they benching with the other guy?
Him.
Okay. You don't like SC's chances of beating Notre Dame next week?
Not at all.
Or whenever that is?
No. Supposedly Moss is getting in the portal.
Where's he going to go?
I don't know. I would think Auburn would throw a lot of money at him.
I don't think he's that bad. I don't think he's their problem.
No, he's fine.
I mean, I really don't. We hit this a little yesterday. Are you surprised Northwestern is spending $850 million on a football stadium right now? They're decreasing attendance by 12,000 from their previous number, down in the 30s, I think, if I have that right. I'll look at it in a second. I've got it somewhere. They are doing tons of amenities for everybody. Like, it is nothing but amenity laden at every stop. It's just such a big dollar figure.
I just don't know enough about the dynamics of their fans and alumni and stuff to know whether that
using a lot of private equity.
Yeah,
which got mentioned yesterday by Boyce on you're just going to have to start taking it. And if you think you as a university or an athletic department is a good investment, if you will, you take the positives and negatives that come with that at this point. I mean, you saw the NFL yesterday. The Bills and the Dolphins, they're the first two teams that are selling stakes in their franchises to private equity firms.
Oh.
Both the Bills' proposed transaction and the Dolphins are trying to sell 10% to Era's management. They're on the agenda for Tuesday's NFL Finance Committee meeting. High probability of final approval from owners in December. We don't know the exact financial terms. However, CNBC recently valued the Bills at $5.35 billion and the Dolphins at $7.1 billion. So you're talking about getting a check, if you're the Dolphins, for $700 million for a stake in Miami.
How come they never call like MPW Digital and go, we'll give you $700 million for a 10% stake? I'd be done.
You know, there's a lot of dangers and negative stuff with private equity, Neal. I mean, you know, they're going to want their money back. There's lots of unintended consequences that come with that. So I'm just
that couldn't get me off the island.
They're going to use a satellite phone to reach me for those consequences or issues as they arise.
Peace out.
It's the most expensive college football stadium ever built at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Also will have the fewest seats among the 34 Power 2 teams. 35,000 seats, down from 47 at their previous thing. 42,000 seats smaller than the average SEC and Big Ten venue.
Again, I just don't know enough about the dynamics of that place, right? I mean, I would think if I were a Big Ten fan and my team played at Northwestern, I'd make a weekend of it and go to Chicago and all that stuff. I'm guessing.
European soccer-style canopy that protects fans from weather and amplifies noise. Yeah, premium options.
It looks like the one in Kansas City where Sporting KC plays, and that's a really cool venue.
Restaurants, street fairs, the whole deal.
Yep.
They said first practical considerations, geometrically, without a 40,000-seat upper bowl, the entire stadium can be closer, allowing better sight lines. Financially, upper bowl seats are the most expensive to build and typically produce the least revenue.
Sure.
More broadly, attendance across college football is down 13% since 2010, and many schools with bigger venues struggle to fill the upper reaches of the stadiums. The bulk of the ticket money is generated from premium seating, suites, boxes, and other hospitality areas, and the new Ryan Field will have 4 different tiers of pricier options. So the question is, how do you invest in something that's not just putting in more people in the rafters? You get rid of the worst seats, create better experience for everyone who is there. That's the trend we are going to see.
CJ asked a question, and the answer, I think, is obvious. He says, if Ole Miss built a new stadium, would they go more or less seats? I think it's obvious. They would go less seats. They'd go more premium areas. They wouldn't put an upper bowl on it, my opinion.
Yeah, Ole Miss is in a weird – they're in a weird spot because that plan had called for a complete redesign of the west side. Is that right? Yeah, west side.
Is that the press box side?
Yeah. And it was going to be, even prior to the construction increases, $450, $500 million to just try to fix one area. It looks like an erector set, but tearing down and starting over is, oh my God, expensive. I
can't do it. So you're
trying to retrofit, and then you need to fix concourses because of concessions. There's so many issues, and there's no right answer. Now, there's going to be a decision at some point, but that doesn't mean there's a clear right answer. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Because think where those costs are today. I mean, Boyce said yesterday on this podcast that he priced a dorm to build, and the new dorm was $73 million over budget, not costing, over what they had originally called for. It's where we are with construction today.
The dorm thing is fascinating to me. I do not envy the people like Boyce who are on these campuses like we talked about at the beginning of the show, where you have this massive year-over-year freshman enrollment, and all of those kids have to have a place to live,
Mm-hmm.
and they're coming from all over the place, and you want them to have a good experience,
To have the environment of the campus deal and the whole deal.
and yet it's very expensive to build dorms, and you run the risk of one day there is a cliff. And now the dorms aren't full, and now they're just money pits. And I don't know the answer to that. It's bound to be something that's sitting. In all seriousness, when you're sitting in that room and you're trying to talk about that, I would think that, and maybe Boyce said this to you, I don't know. I would think that you end up talking yourself in circles.
Well, because the other thing that Ole Miss has to deal with specifically, and other SEC schools probably do too, or any school does, is you have the enrollment growth, but it's not just that. You also just have a lot of old dorm buildings that need to be torn down and redone because he said, after about 40 years, kids don't want to live in those buildings anymore, that you can only retrofit so much. So, honestly, they need to take down 2 or 3 buildings and just build new ones for updated purposes, not even increases at this point.
Well, like the dorm that my girls both lived in as freshmen, it's had to have been built in the
70s or something.
No. I mean, long before that. I mean, it's just old, and yet they need that dorm. I mean, they can't. They need another one, but would you build another high-rise dorm? It's interesting.
Well, and just the cost from a ratio standpoint of how many beds you're actually getting is so expensive.
Right.
Millions and tens of millions for 900 beds. It's
right.
Okay, but
and yet you need those,
which leads to where they are right now, where they lease apartment complexes and different things, and just try to.
And then you're getting kids off campus, and that's not really what parents want. And you want your freshmen on campus.
Yes. But
I mean,
parking is a problem. They got to find a way to push students to the edges of campus to make sure even faculty can park near their buildings.
Yeah.
He talked about an internal bus system that he said only works if we change the culture of what we're okay with. It's necessary, but it requires a complete change of thought. And we're not there.
You have to make getting on the bus normal.
Yes.
And at a place where getting on the bus is
not normal.
It's frowned upon, putting it mildly.
Yeah.
It's made fun of.
An internal campus bus system is one thing he did mention. Again, go listen to the interview. You'll hear more detail. But that is one idea. Because parking is a freaking disaster.
Oh, believe me.
I mean, the normal 8 o'clock during the day,
I know.
So,
I mean, I only have to go for
football
on Mondays and Tuesdays, and parking is creative. Let's put it that way.
It's creative. That's a good way to put it. So, anyway, all right, we will have more rebelgrove.com MPW Digital coming your way today and moving forward. Hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. Back in the morning with another edition of Blue Sky Live. So take care, and we'll talk to you then.